is just fantastic.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the direct response from Destiny, legal one that is, concerning a previous topic we've covered on this channel. This is the affirmative defences from his court case. It is an 11-page document, and a fairly substantial amount of it can be summarised with one word, 2 syllables, 4 letters, deny. Because for the most part that is all he has to do in this. This is considered a legal strategy where a defendant introduces new facts or evidence to negate criminal or civil liability. However, affirmative defences do not require you to acknowledge any allegations. It's important to acknowledge that because otherwise people are going to think he's just denying it cause. Okay? We're going to go through it, and I do know that it ties in loosely, closely, absolutely, with the Jane Doe Pixie court doc 13 pages long that was from the 19th of Feb this year. I will link a Twitter thread that has the entire document, the original one that he's responding to in this, down below in the pinned comment. That should make it a little bit easier then to understand what is going on. Defendant Destiny's answer and affirmative defences. Defendant Destiny, by and through the undersigned counsel, answers the complaint filed in this action as follows. I had realised I could have done a split screen, but I realised it would take me so long to edit that, so you can see what he's responding to. I may have to anyway though because of context, but I'm going to link it regardless. Nature of action: 1. Deny. 2. The corresponding paragraph of the complaint states a legal conclusion to which no response is required. So you have deny and no comment. Cool. Jurisdiction and venue: 3, 4 and 5. Deny. Oh boy. 6. Parties. Defendant lacks knowledge or information sufficient to admit or deny the allegations in this corresponding paragraph of the complaint, and on that basis denies the allegations. If in doubt, make it longer, and then deny. 7. Admit except as to the misspelling of defendant's name. This is a part about his notoriety, his success, and who he is in the online space, his influence. Right. And with the jurisdiction part, while it all says deny, it's kind of redundant to deny because it's just about where it should take place and then citing legal precedent and statutes as a way of stating this should happen here because of these legal things. Right. Okay, that made sense. Factual allegations. 8. Deny. 9. Defendant lacks knowledge or information sufficient to admit or deny the allegations and denies. 10. Denies. 11. Slightly longer, but denies. Defendant notes that the videos were recorded at the plaintiff's request. Slightly longer. 12. Deny. 13. Deny. You're noticing a trend here, right? Now there's nothing wrong with this because of course in the legal space and scope, this is a totally reasonable thing to do to defend oneself. Whether Destiny is right or innocent or not, that is of course not up to me to decide. Although it does look really bad for Destiny anyway with what is in the public space and what was on certain websites for far too long. Some others it will remain because the internet is truly forever. Continuing on, because we of course want to make some headway within this. It's mostly going to be deny, I know, but we will tie in when we can. For example, 10 is listed as plaintiff began conversing with Destiny on Discord when they were approximately 19 and Destiny 33. Both streamers within the realm of politics. See, we like to tie it in here. We're not totally intellectually dishonest. 11 and 12, yes, I think I've already covered those. 13, defendant lacks knowledge or information sufficient to admit or deny the allegations. 13 has some redacted segments to it. This is a reference, though, to November 29th, 2024, where a sexually explicit video of the plaintiff was uploaded to a website. So parts that are redacted, I have no idea how that ties in, but of course we should reference when we can. 14, same to 13. 15, defendant lacks knowledge. Continuing after that though, defendant notes the plaintiff's online discussions about this dispute have publicised the existence of the video, leading to more views. That sounds like something. Shifting the goalpost, the blame. I can understand why that could immediately be misinterpreted and taken the wrong way to make it seem like victim blaming. I should point out, Destiny, the defendant, is also guilty in this respect, if we are to believe that the plaintiff, Pixie, Jane Doe, is also guilty. Because Destiny did not stop talking about this whole situation. Made it worse for Destiny, I would argue. It does not help that many Discord messages were leaked showing Destiny being a bit more well informed on this subject in a manner that would make Destiny look guilty. Admission of guilt is certainly up there. 16, deny. 17, deny. 18, deny. 19, deny. We're going to pick one randomly. 19. When you then go to Pixie's original claim, 19 has a part that is also redacted. It is a reference to a business associate and close friend with Destiny. The plaintiff, Pixie, spoke about her unalive thoughts, not being able to endure the humiliation anymore, and wanting to ensure that Destiny does not do this to anyone else. Someone called Turner then tells her she will talk to Destiny when they next have an opportunity, which is where a slight slip comes into it, because if Turner is the business associate, then the name Turner itself should have been redacted. 20. The defendant lacks knowledge or information sufficient to deny or admit the allegations in this paragraph. 20, though, has something else. Defendant lacks knowledge or information sufficient to admit or deny the allegation in the paragraph. Defendant notes that plaintiff's online discussions have publicised the discussion. Oh, really? 21, in this instance, which is where we are, is a reference to the feeling depressed and unalivey. The leak of the video is still a viral topic. At this point it was. On the morning of the 20th of January, 2 videos on YouTube posted by 2 different streamers discussing the leaks. The videos include screenshots of private messages of the plaintiff discussing the situation with friends, and that the plaintiff claims that plaintiff took hush money, only cares about money and does not care about the other victims of Destiny. One of these videos was viewed over 90,000 times. The majority of the posts by people assume Blundell shared the videos with Destiny's consent and knowledge, which is where the deny part comes into it, because he has to deny everything realistically. Destiny has maintained a level of consistency when it comes to innocence. And of course, we must presume innocent until proven guilty, even with those Discord leaks that don't make Destiny look any more innocent. 22 through to 28, only 2 of them have slightly more added to it, but basically deny or not knowing enough, right? A running theme for the majority of this, I know, but we are going to show you anyway because it seems right. This is part of the legal process after all, and we should of course be invested in this if we are to at some point consider a cause of injustice, which is highly likely because it's Destiny. Whether you like Destiny or not, this is certainly something of interest to me. But we should pull one of those random numbers. Let's go with 26. On or about the 23rd of January 2025, Destiny also posts on his website and in his DGG chat that Pixie and the people behind it just want money, so there's no point in going after the hacker. He's probably some broke loser anyway, so they aren't even mentioning him. Over 1,000 people have potentially viewed this defamatory post. Things like this don't do him any favours, Destiny that is, because a lot of the private was leaked public. People downplayed it, and that's totally fine, but those messages were damning. They really were, and we covered them here because we should. 29. Continuing the same, defendant lacks knowledge or information sufficient to admit or deny the allegations in this corresponding paragraph. Then goes on to obviously deny the allegations, and it continues to the end of the 3rd page of this 8-page document. Maybe deny should just be on everything, just because you can say with context you don't know anything, but you're basically just denying it anyway. Although I can understand if you just deny everything in this, which is fascinating on the face of it. Someone then probes this and you go, well, I don't know enough about it. But then in a court setting, you can just say that anyway, about everything, which would tickle me to no end, let's face it. Adding additional context here and there to say that the defendant is just as culpable or guilty of spreading or generating interest and information and blah 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 can be interpreted quite poorly, again with what is available publicly, be seen as victim blaming, victim shame, as if enough of that hasn't already happened. Page 4 continues, well, finishes before the count 1, and is basically mostly, if not all, deny. But we'll grab one randomly, because we should. We will grab number 32. On or about the 23rd of January, Destiny begins a smear campaign against the plaintiff and tells his followers that plaintiff is only interested in getting money from him. Over 1,000 of his followers could have seen this post. He also tells his followers that his only crime was being too much of a gooner. I remember referencing this because a gooner to me was not someone who was incredibly horny, but a fan of Arsenal. But that's just because I look down on Arsenal fans in general. You're welcome, Gunners. So, count 1, violation of the Intimate Image Protection Act. 39. Defendant adopts and restates the responses set forth in paragraphs 1 through 38 as above, though fully set forth herein. Because we know where this is going, you can already see it on the screen. Deny, 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 deny. Congratulations, Destiny, you have denied it all. I'm so proud of you. Count 2. violation of the Florida statute, which is the sexual cyber harassment. 44, saying the same as 39. 45, though, corresponding paragraph of the complaint states a legal conclusion to which no response is required. Now that's interesting. 45 provides a statutorily created private right of action. Is that the right one? Yes, it is. Congratulations. No response is required. He is quite right in this respect. 46, 47, 48, deny. 49, deny. 50, deny. The final, well, 2, no response required. Again, referencing legal statutes, and yeah, that's important. Of course, don't have to write deny for that, so maybe there is some variation here. Count 3, intentional infliction of emotional distress. All of them, deny. At least you're honest about that, because I doubted you were ever going to accept you could have caused anyone harm with that leak. That you ascribed, prescribed, subscribed, assigned to somebody else. A hack, no less. You shared the video with somebody else, and they admitted it, but alright. Count 4, invasion of privacy. Public disclosure of private facts. 62, 1, 2 and 3 even, deny. 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, deny. I'm enjoying this. I've enjoyed this a lot, by the way, because it is just deny. Which is totally fine. Again, this is what you do in the process. We on this channel, while not finding this the most entertaining, I'm sure many people didn't enjoy this, I think this is interesting to see that when he's told to shut up, he perhaps should consider it, go through it, deny it, do it legally, focus on this at hand, and when it comes down to it, if you have to prove it, prove your innocence, that is, do it. If it's her job to prove guilt, prove it. Although, to be honest, with what's in the public space, your reputation is annihilated. But, at the same time, as with anyone that has this kind of poison aimed at them for their own crappy behaviour, even though they have to prove guilt, you have to prove your innocence in the online space. That's how the internet works. You know this as well as anyone does. You can think yourself above it, that's totally fine, but that is not how the internet works. So there are 2 battles Destiny has to fight. Unfortunately for him, he is on the losing side of one, regardless of how much he tries to downplay it, and the other side is the legal. Court of public opinion has very little regard for people like, who have been accused of what you've been accused of, with all the evidence that is freely available on many different forums and all over social media. Affirmative defences. Without assuming the burden of proof on any matters that would otherwise rest with plaintiff, and expressly denying any and all wrongdoing consistent with this answer, defendant asserts and alleges the following affirmative defences. First, this court lacks subject matter jurisdiction over the claims alleged in plaintiff's complaint. Second, plaintiff at all times gave her consent, express or implied, to the acts, omissions, representations and courses of conduct of this answering defendant as alleged in the complaint, and in each and every alleged cause of action contained therein. Third, plaintiff's recovery, if any, should be barred or decreased to the extent that the plaintiff has unreasonably failed to avoid harm and exercise due care. Fourth, plaintiff has suffered no damages as a direct or proximate result of any act or omission of defendant. Fifth, the complaint fails to state facts sufficient to constitute a cause of action against defendants, including because the conduct alleged in the complaint precedes the enactment of this law. Right. Punitive damages. The sixth, plaintiff is not entitled to recover punitive damages because defendant has not committed fraudulent, oppressive, malicious, willful or egregious acts giving rise to liability, nor displayed reckless indifference to plaintiff's rights. The interesting one about this is, it falls within revenge PORN. It gets really hard for someone like Destiny to rectify that, and there is much in the way of belief that Destiny could in fact win because of this, and that a settlement would be the best path forward. But if Destiny truly believes this is the case and that he's innocent, it is likely that he won't pursue a settlement at all. 7. Plaintiff has failed to state facts sufficient to constitute a claim for which attorney's fees and costs may be granted whether statute or contract. 8th, all acts of defendant were not outrageous, intentional or reckless, and plaintiff has not suffered severe emotional distress as a result of defendant's conduct. That part is very subjective because Pixie believes that she does. I mean, it was Pixie had put all this in the public space once you had, she had been outed in that video that you claimed as a leak. But wasn't it also accused, or you were accused, of sharing that video with other people? Emotional distress is not something you can... You know what, I'm not going to go down that path, it gets quite tricky for a second. There are 14 affirmative defense parts. We're going to finish all of them. 9th, with regards to some or all of the matters alleged in each purported cause of action, plaintiff is guilty of unclean hands. 10th, plaintiff's claims are barred in whole or in part because the alleged damages, if any, are so speculative and uncertain that they are not capable of proof. 11. Plaintiff is under a duty to take all reasonable action to minimize the damages alleged in the complaint. Plaintiff has failed to comply with this duty and is therefore barred from recovering from defendant for any damages that might have been avoided. 12. Assuming without admitting that plaintiff has suffered any injury or damage, defendant is not liable for any of the purported damages alleged in the complaint, because any such damages are not the direct or proximate result or of any act or omission of defendant. 13. Plaintiff's complaint and each purported cause of action alleged therein may be barred by the doctrine of waiver, and plaintiff's complaint, 14th this is, and each purported cause of action is barred in whole or in part to the extent that in any injury or alleged wrongdoing conduct suffered by plaintiff was caused by herself or persons, circumstances or parties other than the defendant. The defendant at the end here demands a trial by jury on all issues so triable. If this goes to trial, I'd be very impressed and surprised. I still to an extent believe that Destiny has partaken in wrongdoing. I'm going to put that out there as a small opinion. I do believe that there is guilt here at the feet of Destiny. Destiny has always been a slimy, greasy type. I'm sorry, but the actions and past and history that is now known of Destiny, it just doesn't help. It really doesn't. And of course that means, yes, I am biased in a manner. Of course I am. I think he's a smeghead, but that's just me. And everyone is welcome to a differing perspective. I know there are a lot of people on social media that believe Destiny to be innocent, and that is totally fine. It really is fine. Destiny, by the way, is right to, for example, call into question the demand of $15 million. That is a part of this settlement in here, or what is requested from Pixie, that is. And her defense, Pixie's, that is, does hinge on the case's focus on malice and intentional emotional distress, something which obviously Destiny denies to be the point, right? Until this goes to a trial, I don't really want to say much more than what I have, because I don't want to commit too hard. I don't look like a complete tool. I am one anyway, but you know what I mean. Basically, I just want to provide what we can know, should know, have access to know, so that when we do get to a point when this does, if it gets to trial, we can cover it a bit more succinct, with as much information to hand as possible. With regards to this, I'd love to know what you all think. Do let me know in the comments down below. I will link both of the court documents so you can peruse at your pleasure. Thank you for listening. Hope you have a wonderful day, and ta-ta for now.